Hello everyone, welcome to Hilltop View Journals and welcome to the August Junk Journal Challenge hosted by Raindrop Lila. I am combining prompts 13, 14, 15, 16 and 17 today, and they are flower, collage, vintage paper, fabric and stitching. And here is a very quick glimpse of one of the things that we are going to be making together. So we've got a journaling card and a little collage on a vellum, or you could say tracing paper, on a little tuck spot. And I've made a couple of others as well, but I'll show you a couple of photos of those now before we get into how I made these. The first thing I wanted to talk about was the documents part of the prompt, or I think it is vintage paper. Some people won't have access to vintage paper, and even if you do have vintage paper in your stash, if you're lucky enough to own some like I am here, you may be reluctant to rip it up. I know I'm certainly reluctant to rip up this gorgeous receipt, which I want to keep in one piece, and ideally I keep this and then fold it up and have it as something that is attached to the journal, because it's so beautiful. It's got a stamp there as well, and yeah, it's just amazing. What date is this? I don't know, I don't know if I can see a date on there. It's sort of missing there. Well, there we are, 1929, so it's lovely. So I copied it. I copied it on my printer, so I've got an inkjet printer. And I copied it on neutrally beige copier paper, very lightweight copier paper. So it did give this lovely tinge to it, so which does age it a little bit, but I tried then aging it further with coffee. But the problem with using something wet like coffee is that it can make the dye on the inkjet printed paper smudge, and sometimes you can get odd colouring and stuff, and you can see it a little bit here on this part there. You can see you've got some of the ink that's merging with the coffee, and you may think that's fine, and yeah, then it isn't an issue. Sometimes you can get like a green tinge. Again, some people don't mind that. You can see a green tinge there. I'm not that keen, I guess, on it. Tea may get less of a tinge, but on some colour concentrates, depending on what you're printing, you will get more of like this shadow of green going around the images. So this part here is nothing on there, I've just dumped some coffee, and it hasn't done too badly, to be honest. You haven't got much tinging going on, but it does depend on what you're printing and the paper you're using, so you've got to try it out. This side I added some of this Art Studio matte glue, and this is very similar to Mod Podge. So this is the matte glue version. You can also get a gloss glue version. I got mine in the Range, which is in the UK. Couldn't find it on Amazon, but you may get it on Amazon US. I don't know, but I couldn't find it on the UK version. So I painted that on, and then once it was dry, I then put coffee on there. Now I've definitely put too much coffee on there, and this one I sort of rubbed the coffee on and then I did drops as well. But where I've just got little droplets here, it's done really good. It looks like foxing. So I really like that. And it's barely come through on the other side as well. So this type of matte glue didn't smudge much of the print like some does. I mean, there is a little bit of smudging, but then I did go over with something really quite rough. Maybe if I used like a smooth sponge or something, I'd get even better. It slightly discoloured it, but that's okay because you'd expect paper to be yellow when it's aging. So I wanted to mention that. I also tried it on this piece of printed paper. So this paper is from the kit, and this is quite heavy 140 GSM copier paper. So I put the matte glue on this, and then I smudged some coffee on it, and that's held up really well. And it also hasn't changed the colour of the print very much. So if I just grab this here, so even though I've put the matte glue on it, there's no tinge, because this is just like the original print there. So that's an idea. And I did have another piece here that I tried out with the matte. Where's it gone? Oh, here we are. So here I tried the Mod Podge just on this piece here. There's nothing on here. And I dropped a couple of droplets of coffee on there, and again, nothing smudged, nothing smeared. There's no tinge around it. You've got a little bit of a sheen, but I think that looks absolutely fine. So this stuff would be good for front covers as well. So yeah, just some options. So combining all the prompts, so we've got flower, collage, vintage paper, fabric and stitching. It's got five prompts to combine in this little video. So I'm going to do collage because that's the easiest thing to do. I'm going to do a little bit of ripping this up. I'll probably use both types as well. I'll use the stuff that I've sealed and the stuff that I haven't sealed. I've got some fussy cut flowers from the kit, got another butterfly left over. And then if you haven't got any faux documents or real vintage papers, then you can use what's available in the kit as well from Raindrop Lila from Lydia. So these are printed, and you could age these with distress ink pads, which won't smudge it. You can do some ripping and things like that. But by the time you've done the collage, it'll look aged anyway, so I wouldn't worry too much. I've got some fabric here. I've just got some cheesecloth. I don't know how this is pink. I don't remember dyeing it, so it might have been something that was given to me. This has been dyed with tea, and I got a couple of other bits and pieces that kind of go with what I've chosen. And I'm just going to have a play. So I was going to try and do two collages, one on the back of a book page, and that can very much class as your vintage paper. Just a book page, and I've got some nice patina happening here naturally, so that's a good idea. And I was also going to do some collage on a piece of tracing paper, and vellum will work exactly the same as well. I have got another book page here as well, which is from an old flower book. It's the Collins Pocket Guide to Wild Flowers, and I thought there'd be loads of, well, there were loads of images in there, but the majority of the book is actually text. But I reckon that kind of meets the flower prompt as well in a loose kind of sense. I'm sure it'll be okay. Anyway, let's have a go then. Let's just do some simple collage. And I am truly going to make sure that this is simple. It is extremely hot here in the UK again. We are having another, what they class as heat wave, only because we don't normally have nice weather, particularly in Wales. We normally get a lot of rain. So we've got health warnings and all manner of things going on, droughts, the works. because, as usual, the UK is not prepared for anything that could be classed as slightly extreme. So it's very frustrating that all we've got at the moment on the news is people moaning about the weather, even though it's really warm and great for the kids. They're off on the summer holidays. And it's kind of weather that I remember as a child. You know, when the summer seemed to last forever. And just be like endless days off school, which was just amazing. So here's a lovely flower image from Lydia. That would certainly meet the requirements of the flower prompt. And I do love these prompts. They're just perfect. It's like a long list of what to put in a junk journal. And yeah, I just think Lydia's done a wonderful job at creating prompts that just work so well. Right, so I got this nice little stamp here, and I thought it'd be nice to tie in with the blue of the background. So I'm going to pop that in. Somewhere. We'll probably have a merry little dance at some point here. Of course, you'd expect that. And I'm not quite sure how to combine the fabric. But we'll start off maybe large and then work our way down. To me, that covers the beautiful image a little bit too much. Let's just nip that off there. See what it looks like on the stamp. Yeah, I quite like that. It's nice and subtle. And do I want to include a little flower as well? I love fussy cut flowers. They are my favourite. I like that. I like that a lot. Now, it is very delicate, so I think what I'd like to do is just, I couldn't get right in there in the crevices to get the white out, because this is quite a small fussy cut, so I just want to try and dampen down those white bits if I can, so they don't stand out so much. And what you can do as well, but I don't think I've got any to hand, is you can go back in and with some watercolour pencils you can bring the greens and things of the leaves back, but I don't think I've got any here. The problem is I haven't got like a really great selection of them, but I'm sure I can just show you just an example of what it would look like. So if you've got the right colour, you can make it a little bit more vibrant. Okay, so I'm going to have that there. Here starts the auditions for the perfect spot for the collage. quite happy with that. So I'm going to glue that in place and then tackle the stitching. And I'm not going to glue it directly on the book page that this is sitting on inside my journal, because I want to stitch before gluing that in place. I could go on the sewing machine and stitch, but I was thinking it'd be nice to actually do some hand stitching today. I've grabbed some threads and I'm thinking of actually going with the blue. And I have got one other blue that might go with this. I think that'll be really bold, so maybe we'll try that. I'm just going to do some really simple stitches, nothing exciting, so you can skip along. I'm not going to teach you anything here, like French knots or anything, and I can't even find the my better needles, unfortunately, but we can live with this. And I don't need to do much, just the hint of some stitching, I think. So I've got a very lumpy needle. Let's just take some of this out. Okay, where's best to do this? I think maybe just a little bit of stitching sort of in this area. So if I'm going to do, oh, this needle is way too, it's way too thick. I need to find a smaller needle. There we go. So it's a really simple collage. I'm just going to glue this down now with a glue stick that's actually got some glue left in there. What I quite like doing with collage as well is not gluing the whole thing down. Oop. Well, not gluing it upside down as well, but... And just as a reminder, when you've got a whole piece like that, you can always make it into a pocket or a tuck spot. But just like with all my other journals, I haven't got the room to spare, unfortunately. And then if you want to just age it a little bit, you can just crinkle it up or rip it like that maybe. And then that does make it look a little bit older. Okay, so that's the first one done. Got some tracing paper. Couldn't get that out then. And what I like about tracing paper is that you can create a flip with it so that you don't actually fully cover underneath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosely rip it, and I really like this paper underneath, and I don't really want to cover it up fully with the collage. And I'm going to go over a little bit here because that's going to be the flip, and I am going to sort of just loosely tear. And the other thing this is great for is covering writing. So if you've got something private that you don't really want anybody to see or not see immediately, then you can use this technique for hiding your journaling as well. And you can even journal on the tracing paper or use vellum. Vellum is thicker than tracing paper, but it's great for journaling on, typing. Might be an idea actually. Maybe I'll do some typing. Okay. I'm going to carry on using the same bit of faux vintage paper. And let's just make it a bit smaller. So perhaps we'll leave a little bit of space here for some writing. And before I do anything more, let's just think about how we want to hinge this. So I'm going to have to hinge it on this piece because this piece here is too small. So I'm going to need the hinge like that. And then you can hinge it with glue, tape, washi tape, anything that you prefer. I quite like a bit of glue and washi tape, and then that provides you with a little bit of interest as well as security that it's going to stay in place. So I've got my bit of faux vintage paper. Got loads of scraps here. I've got this which I've cut off from Lydia's front covers of her kits, which is lovely. And I kind of want to match in with that pink, and that goes quite well. So I could actually fussy cut that. So we've got these flat bits there, so I may need to cut them off depending where we put this or how we cover it. It would be nice to leave the odd leaf if I can, but what I could do is actually pop that off. And maybe reattach it. Like that, maybe something like that. We'll see. But I think that's definitely going to have to come off unless I can do it like that. Let's give ourselves some options. And I also wanted some paper from my offcuts. I'm actually not liking that flower. I want something more bold. Okay, that's loosely glued. So there's very few elements. And I think sometimes keeping your collages simple is the best way, I should say, because half of it takes less time. I think it doesn't crowd the space too much. So what I'm thinking of doing then, let's just have a look at what it looks like on the page before I commit myself totally. Okay, so that fits there. So I'm sort of covering half of it there like that. And this does look lovely with the print, so I don't think I will type on it actually. I think typing would only work if I put it on a blank background like that and then have the print there, the typing I should say. So it might be something that I do, but I think I do really want to use it on this this paper. So okay, so I'm going to do some stitching now, and I think I'll go for the really bright pink. Let's be bold. I did think actually green would look really nice, but I've committed to the pink now. I'm just going to do some small stitches along the stem. I'm going to horrify all your purists and stretch the thread up to the top there. I think pink was the right choice though. You will see the stitching through the vellum, of course. So you might want to do it a little bit tidier than what I'm doing it here. And we can crease these up a little bit. glue it down. Guess you could put some washi or something on there, or a little well, you could actually do a collage on the back as well to cover up what you're actually what you've got, because you'll see it on the back of this, but honestly I don't know. I'm not going to on this one, but maybe I will on the next one. I've glued it now, so I'm kind of committed. Just have to make a mental note for next time. And then I think glue stick would be a good option for this bit. Pop that into position. Then I'm going to use some washi. And so let's check it off. We've got our flower, we've got the collage, we've got the vintage paper, we've got the fabric, and we've got the stitching. Yay! I've decided to do another one because I'm having too much fun to stop. Why should I stop? I'm going to use this lovely postcard. How beautiful is that? And it's perfect because with the orientation, you can go that way or you can go that way. And I want to use it this way. I've backed it with some cardstock that's been tea stained. And I want to put it on this page. I absolutely adore the blue. I think it's gorgeous. And I did think, so one option is you could use a belly band, but then of course you kind of lose the flower a little bit. But a belly band would work for this. I'm going to create a cluster or a collage. Let's call it a collage. So I'm going to create a collage that actually turns into a tuck spot. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I want to do. And I want to keep it fairly neutral because the beauty of the show is this. So let's carry on using what we've got left over. And somewhere in this mess, hopefully I have the remnants of that copied bit of receipt, but I can't quite put my hand on it right now. Scarily, it was right in front of me, propped up behind my glue. How could I not see that? I don't know. I have no idea. Please tell me that happens to you as well and I'm not that mental. Okay, I'm going to use vellum to create this tuck spot. So I want to use, well, I could use the ripped bits, but I'm going to go with the right angle straight bit there. I don't want to create this too big because I don't really need it too big. And I'm just going to tear a piece like that. I decided this was a bit too yellow for this one, so I'm not going to use it, even though I hunted high and low for it till I found it. I could use little bits that I've got left over though. So we're going to have that like that, and then we're going to create this tuck spot there. So here's my tuck spot. So I'm going to use some of this paper because it's lovely. And it's got names of flowers on it. So we can pop that there. And I did wonder, would a butterfly go on that like that? What do you think? Do you think a bit overkill? I mean, the whole journal's overkill, isn't it? Maybe a smaller butterfly. I think there are some smaller butterflies I could fussy cut. Hang on. Yes, there are. Let me go off and fussy cut them. Okay, so that's a bit of a better sort of fit there. So I don't know, I'm going to either use another piece of this, so I'm keeping it simple, or I might use a piece of this, so we'll cut a bit of that off as well. I don't want too many options, but I would like to see what this piece looks like. So, and I've got a stamp here as well, which we may be able to use. So let's get this back. And we can pop that like that. Let's see what that looks like. I mean, you can see the, or barely see the print. Probably if I cut this smaller and stretch it a bit more. It's a great thing about cheesecloth. You can do that. You do then get to see underneath. It's just got a touch of colour. Now, I could include that as well to get even more colour. Yeah, I like that. I think that's nice. Do I need the stamp? I don't think so. I think that is perfect just on its own. And I've got the same blue there, so I'm going to hunt down my needle, which should have been put back in place, but it wasn't. It is now loose in all my pages. I decided to use the pink thread because it's in the needle. So that's the only reason. And what I'm going to do is pop a hole there and do pink, whatever they're called. I want to say tentacles, but I know they're not tentacles. But you know what I mean. Feely things. Tell me in the comments what they're called. I haven't done that very good. I've done it too short. And now I haven't even done it straight. There we are. Okay, so that will go like that. Okay. And let's put the needle back in here so it's safe. I'm going to glue that in place. So I've got a vintage document. It's a book page. I've got fabric, I've got stitching, I've got my flower on the journaling card, and let us see if we can add a little bit of bling. I'm sure I've got bling here somewhere. Going to get the heavies out now and get the whole roll. This is from the range in the UK. buy once, never run out, I would suggest. Very reasonably priced as well. I think literally one is going to do, because it's quite a small butterfly. I can see the strip now in front of me. Oh, how annoying. I think this would look really nice embossed as well. So I may do that. So that's, I did wonder as well, I could do something like that in the background. So have two cards, but possibly it doesn't need it. No, I don't think it needs it. Okay, let's glue this in place. And just going to pop a tiny bit of washi tape on the back here just to secure those little ties in there. Just to try and stop it interfering. That's going to take a few minutes to glue. So I tell you what I should have done is done the glazing first, but I'll probably do that off camera. Okay, so then that will fit in there like that. So that's a really simple way to answer the prompt as well. And let's just check. We've got flower, collage, vintage paper, fabric and stitching. I probably could have tied in prompt 18 as well, layers in this, but let's group layers with another couple of prompts, so I could do something different for those prompts. So that's a bonus one. Today we've created 3 little collages together. So this is the first collage, very simple, and just got some stitching there. And I think a little sentiment wouldn't go amiss on this as well. And then if we come to this one, so this is the one that we did together, and I also went ahead then and did another quick one on the back just to cover the sort of messy back of this one. And we also did, let's have a look, I kind of lost my place a little bit now. Here we go. And we did this one here. Very simple tuck spot, very tiny little collage cluster, and then a nice little journaling card from the kit. So 3 really simple makes to combine the prompts of flower, collage, vintage paper, fabric and stitching. And just in case you've forgotten, please do go and check out the creators that have made some wonderful creations for these 5 prompts over the last couple of days. So I've started with prompt 13 and I've ended up with prompt 17. So please do check out their Instagram accounts and YouTube channels. I've got information in the description box of everybody's details that are taking part in the collaboration. And I will see you with the next set of prompts and some ideas on how you can create with them. See you soon. Bye-bye.